So yesterday we discussed about conditional access policy and hybrid join, not hybrid join, single sign-on feature in Azure. Okay. So can someone just let me know what do we mean by conditional access policy and why it is used?
Just for managing signing to Azure portal.
Okay, it is used to manage sign-ins. Okay. But it is used to manage sign-in, but it is used to prohibit any risky sign-in. Okay. So we are basically creating some policies, and if an user is meeting that condition, okay, we are creating some condition, we are creating some policy, and if a user who is trying to log in into his user account or Azure account, if he is meeting that condition, then only he will be allowed to log in into his Azure account. Okay, so we are creating conditions based on location, based on device, based on MFA, okay, and based on the device status. And what else? One thing. Okay, yeah, IP ranges. Yeah, so we can create conditions, and if the user who is trying to log in into his account, if he is meeting that condition, then only he will be allowed to log in. Okay, so this is all about conditional access policy. So we yesterday we saw that we'll simply search for conditional access policy, and we'll from there we can create a policy. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
start recording, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have started. So and you also need to remember one thing in mind, that we can create our own custom policy, custom conditional access policy. But the thing is, like, we should firstly try to remove the default policy which is there. Okay, by default Azure will give you a default policy. Okay, so from where you will find that default policy, you will go to properties. Okay, under properties, if we scroll it a bit down, okay, so we'll have your organization is protected by security defaults. Okay, so it is currently being our Entra ID or our
Sir,
user. Yeah, yeah, tell me, Ramya.
Sharing
screen is
screen.
not sharing.
Okay. Okay. So we will go to properties, and we will, and from here we will go to your yeah, manage security defaults. So currently this is checked. This checkbox is and in green. So this, it means like we are controlled. Our user sign-ins are controlled by security defaults only. Okay, so we need to disable this first. Okay, currently this is in enabled state. Okay, enabled is, it is in enabled state. So we need to firstly disable this, and then only we can create our own conditional access policy. Okay. Yeah, so next what we saw single sign-on feature in Azure. So can someone tell me what do we mean by single sign-on feature in Azure? Susma, Sandhya, okay, Sandhya joined. Okay, yeah. What do we mean by single sign-on?
With single sign-in, we can access multiple accounts,
Yeah, multiple applications, or we can account
applications.
also we can access through a single set of credential, username and password. Okay, suppose if we are using 50 applications in our organization. Okay, if there is no single sign-on feature enabled, so we will have to enter the credentials, and all the applications will have different credentials. Okay, so if we have to log in into Suppose workday, so we will have to again go to the login option. We will have to enter the credential of the workday account. Okay, so it will become challenging for the employees also to remember the credentials of those 50 applications. Okay, and for administrators also it will be very challenging. Okay, they will have to manage the credentials for employees in all the applications. Okay, so it is very challenging. That's why organizations will go for this single sign-on feature. So in single sign-on, what basically is done, we are basically adding the applications. Okay, we have two ways of adding our applications into Azure. Okay, first is enterprise application and another one is app registration. Enterprise applications are for the applications which are already there in the Azure gallery. So Azure will have its own gallery. Okay, so what you need to do, if suppose if we have to add an application through single sign-on feature, so that once we add that application, we can just give the access of that application to our users or our employees, and those users and employees can start accessing this application using single sign-on or without entering the credentials. So how do we do that? We'll simply come to enterprise applications. Okay, we'll click on new applications. Okay, okay. So next what we will do, we'll have to search for the application that we are looking for. Okay, in this page there are some application which are shown. Okay, but the thing is these are not the only applications that will be there. Okay, if you want to search for some applications, you just need to search. Okay, so if someone remembers any application which are being used in their organization, so they can let me know. I will just search it over here. Okay, it's fine. So we can search for some applications like Slack. Okay, so in most of the organization they will use Slack applications. Okay, they will use DocuSign for certificates management and things like that. Okay, DocuSign. Okay, so they will use yeah, it is coming over here. Okay, so they will use applications like Teams. Okay, so see, so many options we are getting over here. Okay, so Teams we can easily get, so that is fine. Teams we can get through licensing also. Okay, so whatever is your requirement, you will, most of the applications will already be added into the Azure Enterprise App Gallery. Okay, so yeah, so you just need to do what I will tell you the steps. Okay, although it is very difficult to implement this single sign-on feature into our labs, because we need to have some admin account from that application side also. Okay, unless and until, because configuration will be made from Azure side as well as from the application side also. If you are suppose trying to add workday application, let's take an example. Okay, if let's take an example, if we want to add this workday application into our single sign-on. Okay, so what we need to do, we will need admin accounts into our workday portal as well. Okay, because we need to do configuration, we need to verify from Azure and from admin. Okay, because admin can only add the applications. Okay, so we need admin credentials from workday as well, so that is needed. That's why it is little tough to implement this lab, but I will show you the steps. Okay, you need to know these steps. Okay, so here you just need to do what, you need to search for that application, and then what you need to do here, step by step workday integration tutorial you will get. Okay, so you need to click over here. Yeah, so you will be coming to this page, and here you will get all the things, what access you need, what are the options that you need to click on. Okay, so everything will be there over here. So let's see what are the different things that it is telling us to do. So firstly, we need, okay, we need an Azure account, that is we already have. We need to have the following roles. Okay, which type of roles that we need, just remember this. Okay, if you want to add an application through SSO, so which three roles that you need? You need these three roles: application administrator, cloud application administrator, and application owner. Not all the three, but at least one you should have. Okay, application administrator, application owner, or cloud application administrator. One of the three roles you should have. Yeah, this is the most important thing. Workday should support this SSO request. Okay, so since we don't have an admin account with Workday, okay, it will be a little tough. Follow this link. Yeah, now come over here. So see what is the steps. Browse to Entra ID, enterprise application, new application, and from Girly Workday in the search box. Search Workday. Up to here we have done. Okay, now see what we need to do. Configure to enable your users to use this. Okay, we will have to create a user. So it is asking to create a user with this name. Okay, and then what it is telling, it is asking the test user to, okay, to enable single sign on. Okay, yes, see, this is the step that we will be, we won't be able to implement. Okay, we'll have to go to Workday. We will have to configure the SSS settings on application side also. So on the application side also, we need to configure the SSO settings. Okay, it is not that if we are doing from the Azure side only, we will be able to perform this activity. Okay, so we need to do both the things. Okay, so yeah, so over here you will get all the information. Okay, so let's come, we'll try to implement this. There is one test application. Okay, we'll see how much we can do. Okay, so Workday, you just need to follow what? You need to follow this guidelines. Okay, in this guide, everything will be mentioned. What we need to do, what are the things that we need to edit. Okay, everything will be, what is the login URL that we need to provide in the application. Okay, what is the logout URL? What is the Entra ID identifier? So everything you need to go. Yeah, see, SAML setup, identity provider setup. So everything you just need to follow this guide, and you will be able to configure the single sign-on for Workday. So see, in here we will need to go to Workday also. In Workday, we need to find workers, and we need to join worker security. So these configuration actually we won't be able to implement because we don't have admin credentials. We don't have licenses purchased from Workday. Okay, so but I will show you one application. That application will be able to perform to some extent. Okay, so we'll see. So this is for each and every application you will get one guide. Okay, so if you want to perform for this DocuSign, you will get one guide. Okay, so yeah, you need to just open this and you need to follow this document, and you will be able to configure this SSO for this DocuSign. If the in the interviews, if they ask, have you implemented this single sign-on feature, you can mention, yeah, I have implemented a single sign-on feature for some applications, okay, which are newly added into our organization. So they will ask you how you did and everything. So you just need to mention, I did it from the Microsoft Intra App Gallery. The application was available in the Microsoft Intra App Gallery. So what I did is like, firstly, I browsed for that application, then I clicked on the application. There was an step by step guide. So I did the SAML verification, and from the application side also we did the verification, we did the test sign-ins. Okay, and yeah, and then once the application was configured through single sign-on, we gave the access of that applications to our employees based on the groups. Okay, so we'll see more of this. Let me just search for this application, Microsoft Intra, not this, Microsoft Intra, Microsoft Intra SAML, SAML toolkit. This, yeah, so this application, let's see how much we are able to do. Microsoft Intra SAML toolkit. So we just need to go to this application. Okay, and we need to click on this, read our step by step. Obviously we need this guide. Okay, so let's see what this is telling us. So what we will do, we'll click on create option first. So what this will do, it will add the application. If we click on create, so see what it is telling. So first it is telling you to go to Entra ID, enterprise applications, new applications, add from the gallery section, type these applications. Okay, select this application, result panel, and then add the app. Okay, wait a few seconds while the app is added to your tenant. Okay, so we'll see. Okay, it is giving us some failure message. Click on create. Yeah, so now this application has been added. Okay, now if we go to our default directory and if we go to enterprise applications, okay, see, okay, so now see, we have Microsoft Intra 2 application has been added. Actually, we added it twice. Okay, it gave us the notification, but it got added. Okay, so if you click over here, so this application is added. Okay, but this application is added, but we haven't configured anything for this application yet. Okay, so next what we need to do, come over here, we will have to click on setup single sign-on. Okay, we need to enable this single sign-on feature. So how do we do that? Come to this page. Okay, so now what we need to do, Mm, now we need to configure Microsoft Intra SSO to enable your users to use this feature. Okay, so it is asking us to create a test user. Okay, and then what it is asking to configure the single sign-on application side. Okay, application side also we'll have to configure. So first let's see what are the things that we need to do from the Azure side. Okay, so yeah, you need to know this, the user should have this role at least. Okay, cloud application administrator, he should be assigned this role. Okay, so next what we need to do, enterprise single sign-on. select SAML. Okay, so what is the protocol that we are using? We'll click on get started. Okay, well, what option it is telling us to create? Basic SAML configuration to edit this single sign-on with SAML. Okay, so we are configuring through SAML. Okay, there are three options: disabled, SAML, and linked. So we'll click on SAML option. Okay, so let's see what are the details that we need to fill in over here. See, identifier, reply, URL, sign on or URL, these things we need to edit. So how do we need to edit? You need to click on edit option. See, and then what we need to do? We need to fill in these details. Okay, in the reply URL text box, type this URL. In the sign on URL text box, type this URL. Okay, yeah, then we will have to download a certificate, raw certificate. Okay, so what we need to do? Firstly, we will need to click on edit. Okay, and over here in this identifier, what it is asking us to fill? Identifier, it is asking us to fill something. Okay, reply URL, it is asking to change us this reply URL. Okay, with this URL we need to provide in the reply URL. So where is our reply URL? This is our reply URL. Okay, so we need to add this. Okay, similarly, and what else we need to change? Sign on URL. Sign on URL also we need to change. Okay, okay, and what else? Is it giving us some more options or it is fine? Okay, let's see. Yeah, and download. Okay, so this is done. And what we'll do? We'll click on save. So this is done. It is asking to test. Okay, no, I will test it later. It is fine. So we have entered this detail. Previously these details were empty. Now we have added this reply URL and sign on URL. Okay, next what we need to do? Let's see. Next what we need to do? We need to go to the copy the approval based on your requirements. Where we need to go? Okay, so we need to download this certificate. Which certificate? Raw certificate we need to download. Okay, because if you are configuring this single sign-on, we need this certificates. Okay, and next what? Next, we need to go to create and assign Microsoft Entra, configure Microsoft Entra SAML toolkit SSO. Okay, so then we'll have to go to our Microsoft Entra SAML toolkit application. Okay, where we need to go? We need to go to SAML toolkit application. Okay, so how do we go over there? Create. Okay, so our URL will be like sort of. Okay, I think this will be our URL. Okay, let's see. Not this one. Uh, attributes and clean. Okay. Okay, still here it is done. We need to just download this. Okay, and after that, what it is telling us, copy the appropriate URLs based on your requirement. Okay, so we need to configure the application to link with Microsoft Entra ID. Create and assign it. Select. Okay. Okay, so these configuration we need to perform where? We need to perform in this as this Microsoft SAML Entra SAML toolkit application. Okay, so we will have to get that URL from our application team, because application owners will be providing us the application URLs. Okay, so we need to get that URL. Okay, let's see if this is the or not. We'll have to get that from our application team. No, it is not working. Toolkit. Okay. It is also not federation attributes and replies. Hmm. Yeah, so we need to, yeah, this is the page. Okay, so you need to get this identifier entity ID. Okay, so this is the URL. You can see over here also. Okay, so where we need to go? We need to go over here. This application, my configure Microsoft Intra SAML toolkit SSO. So now we are inside this SAML toolkit application. So this is the application. So next, what it is telling us to do? It is telling us to do register. Okay, so here we will click on register. We'll have to create an account over here. Okay, we'll have to create an account, and then what we'll have to do, we'll click on create. Okay, and then what we need to do, just once we create the account, we need to do, okay, what we need to do, select SAML configuration. 1 minute. We need to click on firstly register. This is the application, and we need to click on, firstly we need to click on register. We will have to have this okay, we need to have this user name and email ID and password, and then we'll click on register. Okay, and then what we need to do, we need to go to the SAML SSO configuration page. Okay, for this application, in this application we will have SAML SSO configuration page. Okay, and then what you need to do, you need to copy the mapping values from Azure AD single sign-on page and then paste it over here. Okay, so what we need to do at the last step, here we will have all the details. Okay, so see, you will need to configure the application to link with Microsoft Entra ID. So the same thing is shown over here also. Okay, SAML SSO configuration. Okay, so here you just need to login URL, Microsoft Entra identifier, and login URL. These three details, what you need to do, you need to provide into, once you do the register thing, there will be a page, pop-up page coming as SAML SSO configuration. Okay, you just need to copy these details from Microsoft Entra ID to the details over here. Okay, in this, then what will happen, see, in the login URL box text box, paste the login URL value. Okay, in the intra identifier, use the paste the intra identifier value. Logout URL, paste the logo. Certificate, we downloaded one raw certificate, just upload the raw certificate over here. Okay, and then click create. Okay, and once these steps are done, your this application will be added into this your directory, okay, or your Microsoft Entra ID. Okay, and then you can click on test SSO. Okay, and then what will happen, guys? You will get one link. Okay, you will get one link, and what will be the link? This will be the link. And once you click on this link, you don't need to enter your credentials to log in into this SAML toolkit application. Okay, is it fine, everyone? Although it is like we need some access from the application side also in order to perform this activity. Okay, that's why we could not perform this activity completely. But the thing is, like, I hope you people are able to get what are the things that we need to provide and how we basically add the applications. Okay, so this is what we need to do for each and every application. Okay, and once the applications are added into our Microsoft Entra ID, we just need to provide the access. Okay, and we need to provide the links to our users or employees, and they will be able to access those applications. Okay, is there any doubt, anyone? Any doubts? Ramesh, Susma, Ashwini, Sandhya.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, so you need to know these steps, okay, because until and unless we have access from the application side, it is very difficult. Because if you are configuring any application, you need access from the application sides also in order to configure. Okay, if you are configuring Workday, if there will be some admin accounts created in Workday, then only you can integrate both the applications. Okay, I hope you are getting my point. To integrate any applications, any two applications, we need access at the Azure Intra ID level as well as that application level as well. Okay, so if uh yeah, so that's why I try to demonstrate and I try to show you the path and how we configure. Okay, so you just need to mention these points properly in the interviews. Okay, and there will be a questions like if single sign-on is not working for some applications, so what, how do we troubleshoot? So that we will discuss in our troubleshooting session. Okay, but you will get so many issues, you will get so many tickets and emails regarding single sign on is not working for this particular application. And what you will have to do, you will have to do the troubleshooting part. Mostly you will be doing these things. Okay, so we'll discuss. Okay, so now this singles and let's delete this application. I don't know how much it will be charging. Okay, okay, fine. After I will be deleting this once we complete our session. Okay, so we have discussed about how to add enterprise applications. So yesterday I told you, if we don't have, suppose we don't have an application into our Azure App Gallery. Okay, so there is one application which is developed by us. Okay, we are the owner of that application. So how do we register a new application to Microsoft Azure? We'll click on new registration. Okay, and here we'll provide some names. Name of the application, you can provide any, like suppose if we have developed an application like weather application, so you can keep the name as weather application. Next, what we need to do, whether it is a, yeah, single tenant application or multiple tenant, or it is for personal use, so you need to mention that which is the platform, whether it is a web based application or SPA, single page application, or it is a mobile application or a desktop. So you need to mention them and you need to provide the link of that application. That's it. And you can click on register. Okay, and then your application will be registered into your Microsoft Entra ID gallery, and from here you can give the access of the that application to your users. Okay, is it fine till here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we will move into a new topic, that is devices in Azure. Okay, so let me see how much time is left. Okay, we have 2 minutes. Okay, so if anyone has any doubts, they can ask. Okay, otherwise we'll connect again. Okay, because in 2 minutes it won't be good to start.
Sir,
Yeah,
can you show me how to give access, sir, to
yeah, yeah,
application?
sure, Ashwini. So now we have our default directory. Okay, we will go to enterprise application, and these two applications are added. Okay, so now we'll click on this application. We'll click on manage. Okay, we'll click on activity. Okay, single sign-in logs. Okay, from here also we can assign users and group. See, it is coming now. Here, assign users and group. So you can just click on add user or group. Okay, since this is a free tier, it is not allowing us to give group based access. Okay, so you will have to give user based access. Okay, suppose I am giving to you only, Ashwini. I will click on Ashwini and I will just select this. Okay, and I will assign it. Okay, as application assignment succeeded, so I have given this Ashwini access of this application. Okay, so now if Ashwini wants to access this application, she won't have to enter the credentials again and again. Okay, she will be provided one link. Okay, and through that link she will be able to access this. Okay,
Okay, sir.
yeah, so she will be provided this identifier link, and through this she will be able to access this. Okay, so let's connect again, everyone. Okay, well discussed about devices. What is devices in Azure?